Oh shit.
Hello and welcome to episode 99 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is Chet Royvius. With me as usual is John Denton.
Millions of peaches for me.
Jesus, all right. Okay, well, you should know the deal by now. There's two top 10 lists. The 10 games we've been playing over the past 7 days. Number 10s are the games we've been playing the least. Number 1s are the games we've been playing the most. I thought I could stifle that. Sorry, let's go. Number 10. John, let's do it.
Okay. My number 10 is a game called Play to Cure, which you may have heard about this week. Have you heard anything about this at all?
No, not me, no.
So this is a game that's coming out on, well, it has come out on iOS. And it's been made by Cancer Research, and it is somehow the feedback and the data that can be collected from people playing the game can be used to, from what I understand, which is nothing, understand some sort of gene types or something. Basically, playing it helps cure cancer by much cleverer people than me that understand all this stuff. I've read about it and I've read it a load of times, but it didn't really make sense. What the game actually is a third person sort of into the screen Star Fox style shooter, where first you kind of plot a course, which I don't really understand, and then you play the game and use the you can either play it tilting your ship left and right, or using the size of the screen to move the ship left and right, and you have to fly through hoops. But unfortunately, we played it on my wife's iPhone 4S, and I don't know if it's just the game's like this on all iPhones, or if it's just that iPhone isn't powerful enough anymore, but it's never not been powerful enough before. It's just a mess. The frame rate's like 8 frames per second. It just makes you feel really ill straight away, which is a damn shame, because it's obviously a very noble cause, and it looks like they've put some work into it, and it's incredibly clever technology, but ultimately I couldn't play it because it just made me feel unwell.
I'm very confused. So the money from the sales go towards some kind of...
No, it's actually the data from people playing the game, something that you do within the game. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it works, but there is data that is collected from people playing the game, which is directly helps them understand how ways of curing cancer. I don't know. There are articles written about it, and I've tried to read them, but I couldn't really wrap my head around it.
Shit, okay. What was it called?
It's called Play to Cure.
Okay, you're right. I'll talk more about that next week, because I'm definitely going to find out what the fuck that's about.
Yeah.
My number 10 is DMC Devil May Cry. I finished it again. It was on PS Plus. If you've missed the boat, that's a real damn shame. I finished it. It's the best third-person action game basically of all time, I think. The brief video that plays during the credits, the sort of whizzing around Ninja Theory's offices, as I watched it, I just thought, I hope those people know what they've done. I hope they're aware of the masterpiece they created, because success is, or the perception of success is tied to sales data so often that some of those people might think that they did a shit job, but god damn it, you did not. DMC, I'm going to play it again before I die.
I intend to finish it again on PC, and I'll probably play it again and again. It's just you can play it forever. Is it off PS Plus now?
It is. It was only. I mean, some of them stay longer than a month, don't they?
Yeah, it must be specific deals that they have, I guess. I'm really, really interested to know how all that stuff works. In terms of the deals and who gets paid what and all that sort of stuff. All right. Listen, I mean, it's not a tremendous couple of games for me coming up. This one's called Happy Fall. It's an iOS game. No, it's not. It's an Android game. It's probably an iOS game as well. I've been experimenting with. I've been having a little think, and I'll explain why later, about these types of games. This is a game where you play as a jelly, and you have to tilt but you're basically falling down from the top of the screen to the bottom and continuing down forever through holes in a very basic platform. It's like a big, long, infinite platform. And you just fall through the holes by tilting the thing. It's a very, very simple game. You try and get as far as you can get, and there's monsters and stuff, and you get squished, and it's almost pointless explaining it. It's so fucking obvious, but it was perfectly fine. Again, free, I didn't really play it for very long. I'll explain why I've been playing these games later, but it was all right actually. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, but it's kind of interesting what's happening in that world at the moment.
Well, yeah. On that subject, my number 9 is almost certainly on your list as well. It's Flappy Bird.
Yeah,
on iOS.
it is on my list. I'm sad to say it is on my list.
Should we leave it then?
Leave it because I've actually got a few things to say about it, ridiculously. Okay. So right. Yeah, okay. Kind of on that tip then. My next game, bless my wife, she knew that I was struggling to find time recently, so she started downloading a few games that I might be able to talk about on this podcast, and my little boy would like to play as well. And this one's called Little Ear Doctor on the iPhone. And this is a very strange game. I don't know if you've seen this on. It's quite high up on the charts. You seen it?
No, I haven't checked those charts in ages.
Yeah, basically, it's fucking weird. You're an ear doctor, and you have to clean a monkey's ear. A monkey comes into your doctor's office. Seems like a normal human doctor's office, and he has a bunch of crap in his ear, a lot of, like insects and wax and spots and stuff like that. And you have a selection of tools, and much like, I guess, almost Trauma Center in a way, you have to use the different tools to eliminate the different things, like tweezers to pull the bugs away. There's like a pipette.
To cut a long story short, the internet died last night. We finished. It's almost 12 hours ago. The internet died. We couldn't continue, so it's now 11 a.m. on Friday, and we're going to pick up where we left off. Yeah, that's about it. Also, I realised that it glitched out when I said that Devil May Cry and Vanquish are the 2 gold standard third-person action games. It didn't record that, so yeah. And we've got no time, so let's get this done, shall we?
Also, my wife and little boy are here baking cakes, so if you hear noise, that's them. Deal with it.
Yeah, all right. Shall I tell you exactly what you said, the last thing you said?
All right.
You said, much like almost Trauma Center in a way, you have to use the different tools to eliminate the different things, like tweezers to pull the bugs away. There's like a pipette.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right. I know which syllable to start with.
All right.
T. Yeah, there's a pipette to eliminate the wax. It's a weird little game. Did I talk about the bit where you zoom into the ear? I can't remember if I mentioned that last night or if it cut off.
It's loads of junk in there.
Yeah, you junk in, and you clear all the junk out and the little insects and stuff, and then you zoom in with a magnifying glass, and inside the inner ear there's even more insects and things. It's pretty disgusting. It's all cartoony, but the thought of it just made me think I had lots of little insects in my ear. So you yank all them out, and then you can sort of clean it off, and then the whole thing was over. And it's like, yeah, well done, you've done it. It's pointless. But okay. That's what people want to play right now. It seems they want to be yank insects out of monkeys' ears.
Was this you were going to make some point about iOS games?
Yeah, I will do later.
Oh, Flappy Bird time.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay, what was the monkey ear thing called?
Little Ear Doctor.
Little Ear Doctor. All right, freebie.
Yeah, they're all free now, aren't they?
Pretty much. Well, although I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, all right, my number 8 is Warframe on the PlayStation 4. It's the free-to-play third-person co-op action game, which is 100% adequate.
Yep.
Did you see any microtransactions? How are they making money from it?
There are loads of microtransactions, but you have to go and find them. I think once you get into the game and start enjoying yourself, you can go, and there's vast tech trees where you can start buying. Well, you buy the currency, don't you? So you buy the gold currency, and then you can use that to start buying new weapons and armour and things like that. And there's stuff you can spend a fortune on if you want to, but it's not. As far as I'm concerned, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that way of doing things. Offering something for free, offering the option, even if the top end of what they're charging is ludicrous. It's your choice, and if you're stupid enough to pay it, that's up to you. Yeah. And it's not impinging in any way, and it's a decent little game for free.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't notice any, and I didn't get that far in. I did the first few missions. Yeah. It's perfectly. I mean, it's adequate. Yeah, it's. I mean, incredibly uninspired looking. It looked like Chaos Theory. What was that Gears of War clone? One of the worst games ever.
Quantum Theory.
Quantum Theory. It kind of looks like that. There's a lot of running and not much shooting. I didn't realise it was forced co-op as well. You have to play with 3 other people. there's a lot of running, not much shooting. I kept running, and then like the guys would run ahead and they'd shoot the two guys, and then we'd keep running. I'm like, surely there should be more enemies than this. I'm sure it gets to that later on. And then there was one mission I did where we were just killing inanimate objects, hacking up vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's perfectly adequate. Also, I don't know why I'm mentioning this, but you can't mute people in your game. So I was subjected to just reams of non-stop horseshit from young American kids. Yeah, it's adequate to the nth degree. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Nice little things they have there on the PlayStation Store. But they did release a press release yesterday or the day before. They've got 5.5 million users now across. I don't know if that's across PC and PS4 or just PC, but
I thought it was just I didn't realise it was on PC as well, huh?
Yeah, so it's been out since I think March last year on PC. But yeah, they must be making some bank off it.
I couldn't. As soon as it came up with like the story, the names, all these weird words, and I just thought, this is not something I could particularly see myself getting obsessed with. All those stupid fucking planet names.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of weird stuff. It's pretty heavy going.
Yeah, bollocks.
But yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. All right, my number 7 then is we're bringing out the big guns again. It's Jelly Splash on the iPhone. This my wife became obsessed with this. For the course of last weekend, it's basically all she did. You can see why it exists. Jelly is a bit like candy. Splash is a little bit like crush. They both end in sh, sort of, and well, they do. And it is one of those free-to-play puzzle games that gets increasingly and then stupidly difficult and nudges you constantly in the direction of shelling out a little bit of money. You can either buy extra lives by sharing on Facebook or microtransactions. The game itself is it's not a match 3. It's a grid of jellies, and you have to link up ones of the same colour by drawing a line through them. Then they'll disappear, and you normally have to clear grey slime away from the grid, and so the jelly's on the slime, and you clear them. It'll clear the slime away. Very simple game, but definitely one that is entirely and 100% designed to get its hooks in and try and extract money from you. The actual game itself is, it's all right, but anybody who's played a decent puzzle game could do better. But I can see how it's addictive, especially when I think one of her friends was also. It's exactly the same things happen with people with Candy Crush, but she got rid of it after a couple of days because she refused to pay any money.
Is it as aggressive as Candy Crush?
I think it's very similar. It's very similar. It's constantly suggesting that you should just put a little bit of money here and there, and yeah, that's kind of the ugly side of it. I mean, the actual amount of money that you spend isn't a huge amount, but it's just all a little bit crass. Crass?
Well, it sounds rubbish.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't play it. But yeah, just I've been doing a little bit of. Just a little bit of investigating. I mean, a little, it being the operative word, a bit of investigating in that world at the moment.
All right. Okay, all right. Well, my number 7 is a game called Rekoil. Rekoil with a K. It's on Xbox Live Arcade, although I don't know why, and it's a PC game. Again, as I went on to Xbox Live Indie Games to see if there was anything new. There wasn't, so I went on to Arcade, and this game Rekoil was there. And as I've said many times, you can always spot a great game when it's called Rekoil, and then you look at the box art, and it's called Rekoil Liberator, which is also what it's called on the when you boot the game up. It's made by a studio called Plastic Piranha, who I'd never heard of, and it was originally on Steam Greenlight, so now it's on Steam. The major selling point of it is that it launched alongside a load of mod tools, so the PC version you can start modding straight away,
right.
And there is obviously that's not available on Xbox 360, so I don't know why it exists. There's no campaign, so it comes in the form of a 30-minute free online trial, and it's a first-person shooter, and it's unbelievably ropey. I can't speak about the PC one. Maybe it's 100 times better. I noticed on their Facebook page for the game, they've got thousands of fans, so maybe the PC game's great. It's the first game I had. You jumped into a game, and it said, press retweet to spawn, and at that second some American child screamed through my TV, "I'm telling Mum!" And then I lost connection to the session. I was like, nice one. I jumped into another game and I started playing it, and it's just Call of Duty controls. You're running around, everything is in an absurdly low resolution, the frame rate's a joke. I lost connection between every single match that I had. Guns appeared to spawn at random, so sometimes you'd have a machine gun, sometimes you'd have a pistol. There was a time when it auto spawned when I was in the menus trying to change the the sensitivity of the controls, because the controls are just default really sluggish. There was a level where all of us just kept getting spawned on top of each other and death. The levels are fucking brilliant. Things like shipyards, prisons, warehouses, places you've never been before. The game could run on a PlayStation 2, absolutely no problem. There are genuinely better games. There are genuinely better competitive online first-person shooters on XBlig for 69p, and this costs £11.99. It just fucking stinks. I don't know why it's on this service. So yeah, Rekoil or Rekoil Liberator. It's fucking awful. Oh, actually, there's one good thing. I had an amazing run. I got a 10 in a game. I had like a 10 or a 15 kill streak, and every like 3 or 4 kills, the guy shouts like, like all shooters, fuck, it's devastating, world of pain. When I got to 10 or 12 or whatever, the guy just went, oh shit. That was great. That's a highlight. But honestly, it's worth downloading on Xbox Live Arcade just to have a look at it, because it could run on a PS2. I've no doubt.
Sounds right.
It's fucking crap. I mean, it's terrible. Absolute horseshit.
All right, my number 6 then is a game that it was sent to you, I think, and then it's a PC game, so I had to be the one that played it. That's made it sound worse than it is. It's Super Killer Hornet, I think, Resurrection. It's a shooter in the cave style, but the twist is that it makes you do maths as you play it. It's kind of interesting. It's just one of those. It's not bullet hell, because I think that's a very specific thing, isn't it? But up the screen, shooting things, you played it before. But numbers will come down. So say 4 comes down the screen, you go over that, and then that will appear at the top of the screen. And then it will say, like, +6 or something, and that will come down the screen. And then one of the, like, 3 numbers will come down the screen, one of which is the answer, and you collect that, and you have to chain all these mathematical answers as you're doing the rest of the shooting. The maths it asks you to do is fairly simple arithmetic, but there's some like times table stuff that it keeps your brain sharp while you're trying to dodge bullets and shoot everything. And the music's kind of cool. I couldn't see me playing it for hours, but it was a cool little twist on that genre. Kind of reminded me of being in primary school.
Oh, okay. How are you solving these? Are you using the number keys to enter these?
No. Sorry, I should explain it better. Say 3 numbers will come down the screen as power-ups. Say like 3, 7, and 9. So you pick up one of those, and then 3 more will come down the screen with it'll be like ×4, ×6, ×8, or whatever. So you pick up one of those, and then you'll get an equals at the top, and then 3 more numbers will come down. You choose the one that's the correct answer, all while trying to dodge bullets and shoot baddies. So yeah, it's kind of weird. I didn't play a huge amount of it, but it was a cool idea. It seemed like a very well made shooter as well. The hitbox didn't feel wrong on the ship and things like that. So yeah, it was cool. It actually came out. We were sent the beta of it a couple of weeks ago, but I only just got a chance to play it yesterday. But it actually came out on Steam yesterday as well. I think if you're looking for a twist on that genre, you could do a lot worse.
It's coming to XBlig, I think, at some point in the near future. But Steve. I mean, because the guy that made Pester, which was an XBlig scrolling shooter, which was actually really good as well. So good. Well, I'm glad that's it's good.
Yeah, it is good.
All right, fair play. Okay, what was it called again?
Super Killer Hornet Resurrection.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll wait for it to appear on XBlig, and I'll probably pick it up as well. Okay, my number 6 is Killer Instinct on the Xbox One. I played it just because Spinal has just been released as a new character.
I was going to ask, has there been any new content for it?
Yeah, no, Spinal's out, and there's been no talk of story mode. I mean, they said story mode was coming in March, but I've not heard anything which sort of suggests that it's, who knows? Those things get swept under the carpet all the time. And it is all actually rotating 3 characters now. I didn't realise they'd started doing that, but so if you log on to Killer Instinct today, there'll be a different character every couple of weeks. Okay. I think it's Full Gore at the moment, or Saberwolf, or Orchid. I can't fucking remember. It's one of the other characters that's not Jago. Anyway, I started playing it because Spinal is now there, and I was never a fan of Spinal in the original Killer Instinct. His moveset just didn't appeal to me. Although when you saw people who were good with him, he was incredible. But I just couldn't really get used to him. But he was never massively distinctive. He was just a skeleton with a shield and a sword. But now he's kind of tinted green, and he's wearing rags, and there's a rope around his torso, and he's got a headscarf and what looks like sort of half of a pirate ship's steering wheel around his neck or around his back. So he looks like one of those villains from one of those Pirates of the Caribbean sequels that I've never seen.
Oh, yeah.
And I just kind of don't know why. It just looks quite shit. Really unoriginal. And originally, like I said, he was quite unique. But now he's just in the kind of Jago mould. So it's the equivalent of just giving him a load of dragon punches and fireballs and, slotting into the roster. Whereas before he was quite distinctive. So if I was going to pick a character to go and sort of investigate in a bit more detail, I'll probably go back to Sadira, who I still haven't tried much of, who came with the game at launch. But Spinal, I may have another look.
It's so weird how they're doing it. It's just it's just such a weird way to do anything.
Yeah, I suppose it is. I guess it's just because it wasn't finished in time.
Yeah, I guess so. When's Ultra Street Fighter out? No,
is it March?
It's quite soon, isn't it? Yeah.
I hope so. Although it's not coming to next gen.
Yeah, I know, it's tough.
Although we'd have to buy new arcade sticks anyway. So
for the Xbox One, that's terrible.
Stupid.
It really is. Talking of stuff that's not coming to Xbox One and PS4, I've been playing FIFA, and the new World Cup stuff that they're going to be releasing this summer is only coming to old gen, isn't it? I don't know if you saw that.
I did. Yeah. What, you've been playing that?
I've been playing some FIFA. No, I should say I've been playing FIFA 14.
Okay.
But they announced the new World Cup stuff is only coming to the current or old gen or whatever you want to call it. It's a bit of a shame because I always like those modes, especially around the time of the tournament, especially Brazil as well, and have all the samba stuff going on. But they say they're going to do some World Cup themed stuff in FIFA Ultimate Team. That sounds like the purest cop out of all time to me. But I've been playing some FIFA 14 on co-op seasons again with a friend of the show, Joypod's own David Turner's. We did all right. That game is just designed to irritate, though. You can play beautiful football, and then you just literally cannot stop someone scoring a header, or I don't know. It's just, I like it, but it just isn't Pro Evo. But Pro Evo actually released their sales figures the last couple of days. They've been having a Konami investors call, and this one, 14, was down 1.79 million on the previous years. Wow. So in the last 5 or 6 years, they've gone from nearly 8 million down to just under 4. So it's definitely in trouble. I think people still thought it was actually lower than that. I don't think people even realised that it was still nearly 4 million it's sold. So it's still a big game, but it's definitely on a massively downward slope. But then again, it's the next gen version should be coming this year, so I'm excited about that. But FIFA 14, I like it, but it doesn't fuck me off.
Are you playing constantly against Real Madrid?
No, we didn't actually play against them once. But as Dave said, because he normally plays as Millwall, or as he says, Millwall, which is just a weird way to say anything, he never plays against Real Madrid because it matches you up with teams of your own star rating, doesn't it? So he normally plays Leeds and things. But we managed to avoid Real Madrid, which is all right. But then it gets disconnected. It's just one of those games.
Yeah. On PS4, obviously.
Yeah, on PS4.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I haven't played it, but I will do. It's just permanently on my.
Yeah, it'll just be there, won't it?
Yeah. Okay. My number 5 is a game called Bloodstroke on iOS. I played it on an iPad.
Sounds horrendous.
No, Bloodstroke. I suppose it's a bit of a weird title. It's an isometric twin stick. Well, it's not a twin stick. Sorry, it's a single stick shooter. And it's. The John Woo is somehow involved. As usual, I don't know to what extent. I think the title of the game is actually John Woo's Bloodstroke.
Sounds like an obituary.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, it's a shooter. It's all about gunplay, but there's also melee attacks and grenades. You're this female government agent called Mei Li who's escorting this doctor through the streets of Hong Kong, and basically you are untouchable. Because this doctor that you're with, he directs all the fire. So you have to go and kill all of these people before they can attack him. There is a bit of strategy involved, because if you run into an area with a load of enemies and you're reloading, he's going to take a load of damage. It looks absolutely lovely. It's black and white, and it looks like a kind of watercolour painting. They probably only decided to do it like that solely to show up all of the blood, which there's copious amounts of, but it still looks very, very nice. It's better than passable. It's actually a good shooter that I really enjoyed. It is presented, however, in exactly the same fashion as the RoboCop tie-in iOS game by Glue Games that I spoke about a few weeks ago, and Fight Back, the Ninja Theory free-to-play clusterfuck. So you have to earn cash to upgrade all these things, and you hit brick walls that you can't pass until you pay money or grind for a really, really ridiculous amount of time. As exactly happened with Fightback, I have now reached a point where I cannot progress unless I pay money, and that was bad in Fightback, which was free. Bloodstroke is £2, and I don't know how. Part of me just thinks we have to just get used to this, because clearly this system works for some people. But I can't get my head around it. I paid for this game, and it's just after an hour or so, an hour and a half, it's saying give money. And it's just like, well, I
hope it fails.
I hope it fails too. But at the same time, I suppose I was thinking of like old arcade machines, like Street Fighter 2. That was an appalling bastard arcade machine. If you were playing it on your own, the difficulty spikes in that designed solely to get more money out of you. And I'm just thinking, is this the modern equivalent? Obviously this must be working, because I've played 3 games in the last 2 months that are almost identical in terms of those microtransactions. In fact, I'd say that there is this template that everyone's using, because it must work. It must. It's fucking difficult, because the game is good, but you have to be made aware that the advertised price of admission is not the real price of admission if you want to actually complete it or get to the far end of it. I don't know. I think it's appalling, but obviously I'm probably alone in that. Well, I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone, but I guess this is just the way things go these days.
Yeah, I think it's appalling as well. I can handle just about microtransactions in the game that you pay for cosmetic things, even things to get you to the end quicker. I wish they weren't there. Don't get me wrong. I think they're ugly, but I can handle it. But that we literally can't progress, and you've paid already. That's unacceptable. It's completely appalling.
Yeah, and what's annoying is, like Fightback, the game's actually really quite enjoyable. Yeah. And I just want to play that game. As with Fightback, I got to a point where I couldn't continue. And I was like, well, I don't know. And again, maybe I need to. I don't know. This confuses me, this situation, because I feel wronged by it at the same time as wanting to praise the game. And I don't know. I was thinking the other day, maybe it's the modern equivalent of old arcade machines, which we had no problem pumping money into. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But when I definitely don't like it when they charge you money up front and then charge you on the back end as well.
That's definitely not on. Yeah.
Right, here we go then. My number 4 is the aforementioned and insanely popular Flappy Bird, a game I regret going back to, and I certainly regret playing this much. It kind of took me by storm on the weekend. Our friends Matt and Dave started playing it, and you started playing it, and then you tricked me, saying that you scored a certain amount. So I decided I needed to spend my time beating that, and I ended up getting a score of 47, which, if you played Flappy Bird, is pretty difficult to get. And then you immediately replied saying you got a score of 63. So I spent the next 2 or 3 hours trying to beat it, couldn't, gave up, and deleted it. You then told me that you'd photoshopped those.
No, I just Google images.
You just Google image those pictures, and just made me waste an entire day. But that's my own fault. That's not, that was a good trick. But Flappy Bird is now, they say it's been downloaded 50 million times, is making $50,000 a day in ad revenue. And yes, it's pretty shit. Yes, it's a copy of many games that have existed already, give or take. Yes, it basically steals assets from There's Mario. But do you know what? It's free. It doesn't ask you for money. The gameplay system is functional. Once you get into a little flow going through between the pipes, it's okay. And I think there's a lot of snobbishness going around about this game, to be honest. I think a lot of, these people don't really know what they want. They'll put, it's like, what, people really want to spend hours playing video games. People who play a game like Flappy Bird, they're happy with this. They get into high score challenges with people that they know, and they'll probably be done with it in a few days. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it's, a lot of articles have been written about, people not knowing what they want. And I think I've always hated that attitude. I think people are perfectly capable of knowing what they want to do, and who are we to tell them otherwise?
I haven't heard any of that stuff about it. I know that I felt instantly guilty when I wound you up with those fake pictures, by the way, which is why I was going to come clean on this episode of the podcast, but I decided to tell you at the weekend because I basically downloaded it and started playing it, and for about 15 minutes I was completely hooked. And then I deleted it from my phone because I just thought, fuck this, life's too short, I don't want anything to do with this. I thought it was hellish, to be honest.
It kind of is hellish, yeah. But there's a sense of achievement when you get quite far because it is so difficult. But I'm not really even praising it. It's a very simple game. It is what it is, and fair play to the Vietnamese guy who made it. He's now rich.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good for him. I can't.
He's not trying to charge you up front and get money from you in the back end. He's not using any of the fruit machine hooks to try and prey on, people with gambling addictions or anything like that. So I think there's snobbishness going around about this game. If you don't like it, you don't have to play it. You can just. It's easy. It's easy not to play Flappy Bird.
Yeah, I mean that's why I hated it so much. I just deleted it there and then. I mean, I saw a headline for an article. I didn't read the article. It may have been brilliant. It was like 10 reasons why Flappy Bird is like Dark Souls.
I didn't read that one.
Well, I saw the headline and it annoyed me straight away because how can you compare something as meticulously crafted as Dark Souls to this? I don't know. The reason I deleted it is because it made me think of, I can't remember, I think I saw it's about some designer drug. I think I saw it either on a Vice documentary or something. I think it's that crocodile stuff that's in Eastern Europe at the moment and people's limbs are falling off.
Yeah, I know what that stuff is, yeah.
I think it was from that documentary. But anyway, it was a documentary that I saw online in which a doctor was talking about the drug and he said that it's literally, you derive pleasure from it literally about twice, and then all the drug is the compulsion to keep doing it. There's you can't stop doing it, but there's no pleasure involved. And I was just at restart. I was like, I'm not enjoying this one bit. This is just all I'm doing. It's just like that's the way it made me feel. I thought it was hellish, so I deleted it straight away. But I don't have anything against it. If you want to do that, go ahead.
Yeah, completely. And yeah, that was why I ended up fishing out some other games and trying to see what's popular in that world at the moment, because it's very different to what was popular about a year ago. I was doing, certainly when this podcast started a couple of years ago, I was doing more iOS reviews through work, so I was playing all these different types of games. There's a lot of like Angry Birds clones and things. Most games cost 69p, $1, and the whole model was different. There were in-app purchases and stuff, but they weren't as prevalent. Now everything's free, everything's trying to copy one another. Almost every game is like a copy of that Clash of Clans, and they all, a vast majority of them are looking to insidious ways to get money out of people. I mean, I'm still of the belief that if you make your own choices, but if you choose to pay money, that's up to you. But I don't like that type of game design. It's ugly, it's crap, and it doesn't do anything for the medium. Whereas Flappy Bird, it's got a little advert at the top. You don't even have to press a button to get rid of it. No problem. Do what you want. And there was a good article actually on Polygon that explained. I thought it was going to be a snobbish article, but it said something like Flappy Bird shows that developers don't know what the audience wants, or something like that, saying that there's all these games coming out that think they're going to make money, maybe like the games you were talking about, the Robocops and the Bloodstroke, whatever it's called. But in actual fact, people actually want this. They don't want to pay, and they don't want to be bombarded with microtransactions and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. But I definitely talked about fucking Flappy Bird too much. I promise you that will be the last time I ever speak about it.
Yeah, I mean, I bailed 100%. When I deleted it, it was for life.
Yeah, it's not going back on my phone.
Yeah. So yeah, but fair play to the guy.
Yeah,
who made it. That's fine. I had absolutely, because I played it before I had any idea about what a phenomenon it was. So finding out afterwards is very bizarre, because you just think, that fucking game, that little game.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, the only reason I knew what it was because it was number one on the App Store. So yeah, my wife downloaded it, in fact. And I was like, this? Yeah. But yeah, this.
All right, well, fair enough. Okay, all right, well, my number 4 is Battlefield 4. It's not my number 4, it's my number 1 by a mile. But I read your article on Eurogamer. What was it called?
Disaster Report. Battlefield 4 Disaster Report.
Disaster Report. And when I finished reading it, I thought you were nowhere near harsh enough. But that's because I had just come from a 90-minute stint with my friends where we suffered nothing but crashes, the black screen with the white ticker. The servers are back to saying there's 0 people in them all again. I mean, we just had to give up. We tried for an hour and a half to play a game, and we still couldn't. So it's still fucked even now.
The thing is, I wrote that article, and it's something that's picked up in the comments quite a lot. That I was one sentence I said, it's now working to a standard I'd expect from a box product, which to me meant it's still a little bit sketchy here and there, but it was working. And that was based on playing it myself on PS4, it working. playing it for a decent, excuse me, a decent amount of time, and then producing the article. The article ended up going up about, I think, nearly a week after I wrote it, and it seems like the game started to fall apart again. So I would actually like to kind of erase that sentence, but what can you do? But that's the thing with it. It's so inconsistent across different people's experiences, because there's, I think, nearly 300 comments on that article, and some people are saying it's absolutely fine. I don't get all the fuss about.
Any problems.
You know, enough people have said that it's got to be true. Whereas some people, certainly me until recently, but it was literally unplayable. So the whole thing's just a fucking disaster.
It really is. I mean, and last week I spoke about when they did the patch, which was last week. They brought in this new problem where if you played smaller game types, the first round you play, there's no music, and it just keeps bringing in the music that plays at the end of the game, just repeatedly, in addition to silence. So it's really actually quite hard to play the first game because you need the sound more than you realise. But in addition to that, now the scoreboards are fucked a lot of the time. Names don't come up. I mean, it's like dicking around with a house of cards. I think every time they fix it, they're going to find new problems. Yeah. But there's one thing, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again because it's ridiculous. The game is based around this meter in which you help out your squad and you do things for your squad. And the whole point of it is that you build it across games. But you keep getting kicked out, so you can't build. So one of the fundamental elements of the game cannot work because you keep getting kicked out of the game. I mean, it's still fucked. I mean, I'm really furious. I'm on and off furious, and I dare them to try and announce. But there is some rumor that they're going to release another Battlefield game before the end of the year. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, wow. That cannot happen. That cannot be allowed to happen unless it's free. Yeah. If you bought Battlefield 4, you can have it for nothing. All right, then. Anything else, no chance. It cannot be allowed to happen. Yeah, it basically can't. That would be appalling. Criminal. Yeah, it would literally be criminal. I haven't played it this week. After right now, I kind of want shot of it for a while. Okay, my number 3 is a strange one for us, I guess. It's Surge Deluxe on PlayStation Vita. Now, we've got to do a small disclaimer on this game, I guess, because you worked very briefly on it, didn't you? I did a little bit of sort of off the record QA on Surge Deluxe. My name's not in the credits or anything. It was just a little, but it would be. I'm not going to sit here bigging it up because it's not for me to say. But you don't, Yeah, of course. I'm nothing to do with it, and I just played it purely as a punter / critic. But I think probably the best thing to do is you could explain how it works, maybe, and then I could talk about why it's good. Does that work? That's well, not really, because that's an incredibly hard thing to do. That's basically why I asked you to do it. Yeah, I was going to say, it's a match. Oh God, how the fuck do you describe it? You're matching colours in blocks. There's blocks on the screen, 2 lots, one on the left, one on the right, and at the far right and left of the screen there are these vents which you have to clear to stop the air pressure, the water pressure, the pressure going up. So they're blocked. Those vents are initially blocked by the blocks. So you have to clear blocks, open up a vent, press it. It's all touchscreen, and then that'll open up, let some of the pressure out. Mm-hmm. If you can clear both sides and press the vent on both sides of the screen, a coloured bar will go across the screen. That means it's permanently vented, and that will also make the higher score. Equivalent colour block worth more. Yeah. How you clear the blocks is by drawing a line through them with your finger, and it draws a line through it on the screen. I played a fair bit of the original Surge, which was a PlayStation mobile game, also on Vita. This is it's definitely better. It's very similar. There's not a huge amount of difference. It's one of the things they changed was making it colourblind friendly, so the different blocks are different shapes. That took me a little while to get used to because they're all just squares before. And there's some new like block types, but to go into the specifics is a bit tedious. What is cool about Surge Deluxe is, I mean, it's very similar in a weird way to their other main game, Velocity Ultra, because it's a game that is played in a familiar genre, but is quite different to anything else you've ever played, and is also designed to be played very quickly. So when you get good at it, you start dragging through the blocks at speed. The whole game's supposed to be played at speed, quickly identifying what you need to get rid of. So you're almost like ching, 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 doing stuff fast, trying to clear things. The pressure's building up, and it's quite stressful like that. I know once you get to a decent level, you start deliberately clearing
the right types of blocks to get the vents out of the way, so you can increase your score and things like that. So there's a lot of depth to it like that, much like there's a lot of depth to Velocity Ultra the more you play it. It works well with leaderboards, so it's always giving you a score to chase, it's matching you with your friends, matching you with the world, so that sort of stuff's good, especially after coming off Ollie Ollie, where that stuff's not in there in the way it should be. And it's just it's a crackling little game from Future Lab. You know, the Velocity 2X is the real one to look forward to, make no mistake there, but this is a nice game. And I mean, they've said this themselves, but in a world where this type of game is now dominated by people trying to, you know, yank money out of your pocket and hook you and trick you with sweets and all this sort of stuff, it's nice to get a game that you pay $3.99 for. That's a fully functioning, very well made, designed and tested game that it doesn't ask you for anything else ever again. You can't even agree or disagree, which is right. But it's good. Future Lab make great games. John Denton, 2014.
True that. Yeah, I mean, one thing I will say, but I've played a hell of a lot of it. It's not on my list, obviously, but I've played a heck of a lot of it. It's all about. Also, it's not as complicated as we probably made it sound just then. It becomes second nature very quickly. But yeah, you are supposed to play it quickly, but at first you do have a little bit of time to sort of structure what you're going to do. But you have the core of getting used to how to play it is incrementally ramping up your own speed, because the first 10 times I played it, maybe I found it quite aggravating because it would always cut me off and I'd die and I'd feel like I'd done something wrong. But you have to speed up alongside it,
right?
That's where, I mean, because at first you can get really, really high scores in the first couple of screens because you can be a bit careful about it, but then it's ramping it up, getting quicker and quicker and quicker.
Okay.
I mean, I won't speak any more about it, but it's £4. I mean,
yeah, very, very good stuff. And very much looking forward to Velocity 2X, which they released a bunch of new screenshots. I believe there's a video going out today as well, Friday. So, excited to see that. I think that's...
When is it coming out?
It's apparently 2 p.m. Friday today. So, yeah, excited to see that. Very much so.
No, sorry, the
game is still like spring or Q2 or something like that. So, not long.
Okay. Cool, okay. All right, well, my number 3 is Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games.
Poor fuckers.
On the Nintendo Wii U, yeah. I thought this was a new game. It's not. Apparently, Nintendo are just giving it a second push, obviously, because it's the right time. This is a difficult one. This is a solidly good game. It's like a 7 out of 10 game, and it's on that scale, it's a very good minigame compendium. But it's so confused, and it's made me realise, it was like a wake-up call that's made me realise how confused the Wii U is, because I hadn't realised before. You know, a few weeks ago when the Xbox One launched, I said it's the most confused machine of all time, and I picked holes in it straight away about what they needed to change, etc. And Microsoft appeared to be fixing it, which apparently is the way to do that, is to make it more like the Xbox 360. But yeah, perhaps it's because Nintendo games are so good, consistently. Maybe it's because I've always played them for my whole life, and maybe it's because we've seen Nintendo defy the odds so many times over the years. But I didn't realise how confused the Wii U is. Just to normal people who don't game particularly. It's a very confusing and confused machine. I'll start off with how we started. Basically, we started playing the game. My girlfriend and I, and we played. There's a load of preset events, so you can like do a roster of 5 random, not random, but there's preset playlists. Yeah. So we jumped into one, and she had the gamepad, and I had a Wii Motion Plus Wiimote. Now the Wii Motion Plus Wiimote that I have is the original one, which is a normal Wii Motion Wiimote with a Wii Motion Plus sort of dongle thing that you slot underneath it. Since that's happened, since that was designed, Nintendo have redesigned the Wiimote so that it's got Wii Motion Plus built into it. On the back of the box, the picture is a Wiimote. It looks exactly the same. It says 4. You need 4 of these Wiimotes. To the tens of millions of people who have a Nintendo Wii, they think they have the kit to play this, and they don't. So basically, we did 2 events, which was all fine, and then we got to the third one, and a menu came up saying, "Where's your other Wiimote? Because this game that you're about to play doesn't use the gamepad; it uses 2 Wiimotes." So I got a Wiimote, turned it on, and said, "Where's the Wii Motion Plus?" I don't have a Wii Motion Plus. So the only way to get out of that screen was to quit the game back to the dashboard and then restart the game, which is the kind of fuckery I've never seen on a Nintendo machine, I don't think. So yeah, it's just there are some games require the gamepad, some of them require Wiimote, some of them require both. So it's just very confused. You can get halfway through a playlist, and then the only way to progress is to go back to the dashboard. So, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean the games, like I said, very good. The gamepad support is actually really neat because while you're playing it, if you're doing a game with the Wiimote, it's like a TV, so you see a little Toad reporter in the corner of the screen, and occasionally there's like a little panel of Mii's sitting there. And after some of the games, you do a fake interview and you can give tips to Miiverse and stuff. It's neat. It's really good ideas. Like so much things you've seen on the Wii U. The games are of a high standard. The best ones I thought were the ones that are like traditional console games. So snowboarding uses the gamepad with tilt controls, and you're using the triggers and stuff. Really good fun. And there's standard Olympic events and there's dream events. So it's not the last Sonic and Mario Olympic Winter Games, the Wii and the DS one or the 3DS or whatever, 4 years ago. That was a little bit too, we're the official game of the Olympics, so we've got to act like it. This has got all these dream events where, they're much more gamey and there's power-ups and shortcuts and bosses and hazards and, all that shit. The games are of a really good standard. Figure skating is the best. It's like a 4-player simultaneous rhythm action game set to music. There's a Mario-themed one, a Sonic-themed one. There's the biathlon, which is great. And that's the problem with the biathlon is that it makes you realise how great it would be if you could have more than one gamepad connect to the Wii U, which you can't because you're skiing with the Wiimote and then you have to put it down, pick up the gamepad and use it for shooting.
Oh, that's cool.
Put it down again, go back and ski. And just thought that would be so funny if there was like 4 of us doing it, but obviously that can never be.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's no duds. It's not on a par with Nintendo Land, but it's really not far off it as a minigame collection. There's no bad ones like there's a couple of stinkers in Nintendo Land. But yeah, it's just such a confused game, and the fact that you can buy it and not play some of the games is quite ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it is. It is a very confused and confusing machine.
Yeah, I mean, with all this talk about how things are for Nintendo, I'm really starting to worry now because this was like, oh shit, they might be fucked this time, because it really, yeah. But the game's it's of a really, really high standard, and it's just consistently charming. I mean, I never got tired of seeing Donkey Kong or Bowser doing figure skating. Just thought it was funny, So yeah, it's a really good game. It's just a bit of a shame as well.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Wii U. It's a tough one.
Yes, it's a shame.
Oh well. Just hold on like 1 minute.
All right.
He's just going for his nap. So my number 2 is the latest PS Plus game on PS4. It's Outlast. Now, is this in your list as well?
It's my number 1.
Oh, okay. I maybe have not played quite as much as you then. So Outlast is a first-person perspective survival horror game. It came out PC late last year, maybe September, maybe a little bit earlier than that. But yeah, it's just come out day and date PS Plus release on PS4. You play as a journalist, like a reporter who is kind of it's a bit hackneyed. He turns up at a mental asylum because he's heard something dodgy's going on. It's quite a funny setup, really. And then you're kind of left to enter this mental asylum called Mount Massive, I think it's called, and then see what's going on. Very, very quickly you realise it's not going to go very well at all, and the game becomes quite unpleasant, I have to say, to say the least. I mean, it is a scary game. How does it achieve those scares? At first, I thought that it was just going to wind me up because early on there are a couple of jump scares, and I don't like jump scares at all. I don't like it when you used to send me those videos where you watch a car going down the road and then a fucking witch would jump out. I feel like a jump scare is just like someone walking up to me and just punching me and then just walking off. It's not scary. It's just really, really annoying and it hurts. So when it lined up a couple of those early on, although it did earn them quite well, I thought, yeah, this isn't going to be for me. But then it quickly it's much more dreadful than that. And that's where I started to really get into it. What's unique about it, it's not that unique these days, but certainly compared to games like Dead Space, is that there's no combat. So you're weak, essentially. There's no option to pick up a weapon. You have no weapons. So when you encounter a baddie / monster / someone who wants to get you, you have to hide. You can run away, and it has a cool mechanic when you're running that you can press the trigger buttons and look behind you, but it does it with a nice little camera twist. which it's quite terrifying when you look behind you and you realise how close someone is, and you can like hide under beds and in lockers and things. So you do feel extremely vulnerable the whole time while you're doing that. You can hear the sort of terrified breath of the guy that you're playing. And the other cool thing about it is that you've brought with you like a handy cam, and it has a night vision mode, and a lot of the game is set in pitch black, so you have to do it in night vision, and it's kind of like that kind of paranormal activity thing going on. But seeing stuff in night vision, sorry if you can hear the screaming child, that's not part of the game. The things, the second you turn on night vision in pitch black, I was almost like, I don't know if I want to play this anymore. But I persevered with it, and then by the time I think I got to the end of the second chapter, which is, I won't spoil it, but I thought the game really stepped up, both in terms of how it plays and it has like bad guys that are characters, and it was almost giving me a kind of drag me to hell vibe. Like it was scaring me, but almost after every scare I was laughing. It was almost funny, but really, I mean, it was giving me, it was shitting me right up. And then after a couple of hours, I was just like, I could feel the nerves in my body were all jangly, and I was like, I don't think it's healthy for me to play this anymore. I'm going to stop. And I'm going to go back to it, but I don't think I'll play it for more than a couple of hours at a time. But what did you think?
I basically loved it. I played it with my girlfriend, and I don't. Horror games have never scared me. I don't get scared by anything. I rarely get scared, I have to say. But this really, really had me on edge. I think you have to play it at night, and you have to play it with the lights off and with the sound cranked up. So I'm going to complete it, but only when I'm not on my own, and only when it's nighttime. It is, like you said, completely unoriginal. When it started, I was like, because it's a haunted house scarefest where the haunted house is the abandoned mental asylum. I was like, oh, all right, okay. Although I do like, there are some really nice storytelling touches in it. In most games, it would have been, so I was going up to the mental asylum, or it would be some guy going, oh, you're going up to the mental asylum. Just the fact that when you were driving up, you see the sign. I was like, oh, that's a nice touch. It's a tiny, tiny thing that most games don't do. Are so terrible at, because they have to tell you everything without actually sort of making it a part of the world. It's a tiny detail, but there are other bits like that. But yeah, it's really completely unoriginal. You read about really grim self-mutilation, and then you see sort of evidence of it, and then there's instructions written on the wall in blood, and there's mental patients who bang their heads against the wall, and a load of references to MK Ultra, which is the most boring obsession which apparently everyone has. There's loads of reasons why it should be exhausting and boring, but it isn't. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of horror games like this, but I hadn't played them, and even if I had, I'm sure, I mean, this is very, very well crafted. The system, like you said, where you use batteries to see in night vision, what happens if you run out of batteries?
You're fucked, I'm sure.
But every single time I was about to run out, I'd find a battery, and I didn't know whether that was deliberate or whether that was just luck. But
I'd imagine it's luck and design.
Yeah, because if you run out of batteries and you're in the pitch black, what do? You can't do anything.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's what you see. I'm very curious about that. I might just see what happens, because that would be really irritating. Yeah, it would be. Because you'd be stuck in the dark, and you're like, well, I mean, I just have to wait here until I get killed. Some moments don't work. I mean, there's a bit where you're in this basement hitting switches in a row, and there's a guy sort of patrolling, and the lack of direction kind of killed the suspense. I liked it when it was very, very sort of directed, so the shocks worked, and it was clearly structured to try and. The opening few jumps I thought were excellent, because again, jumps I always see them coming, but this enemy who kept sort of stalking us, so we had to run and hide in these lockers for the best part of half an hour, just trying to get these switches. It was random. He seemed to move about random. We couldn't learn a movement pattern. So in the end, after being exasperated with it, we had to just run and hit the switches with him chasing us the whole time, which kind of ruined the atmosphere, obviously. Yeah, I really like it. It's really properly grim, properly unpleasant in places, but very, very engaging.
Yeah, and it's got people with their cock out.
Yeah, it does. Have you seen those two guys standing there mumbling while they're on the other side in the prison?
Yeah, they're my guys.
Some of they're just talking about how they're going to kill you and stuff, and you just think, if they fucking. I was waiting for the moment when they were going to break through that door. I was like,
okay, maybe I'm further than you. I won't say any more than that.
Oh no, I mean I've been sort of in the rain.
Okay.
So I think that's not far after that. But anyway, yeah, it's really. I mean, I was surprised by how much I liked it, and I'm definitely going to finish it.
Yeah, what a cracking freebie.
Yeah, really.
Outstanding.
Yeah, surprised.
Yeah, the whole second chapter where you're kind of in the cells, I'll say. I really thought the game stepped up there. It was just sort of really kept piling on the intensity, and so some characters emerged, and I liked it. It was just fun. It's just a ghost train, really, isn't it? But it's scary. I preferred it to Amnesia as well, which I played. That's a bit too. I'm going to say the wrong one. Lovecraftian. It's probably the other one, but it was a little bit too forced in that sense for me. Even though this one's probably tackier and cheesier, it's just more appealing because it made me laugh as well as scare me, which is actually quite a difficult thing to do. But I'm sure if you have a PS4 and PS Plus, you've already got it.
Yeah, I was very, very impressed. Very impressed, and it showed me again. I spoke about Alien Isolation a little while ago, which I think now I'm starting to see the possibilities a bit more, because this whole idea of no combat hiding all the time, it works absolutely brilliantly in this. So apart from the random movements of that enemy,
I didn't have any problem with that though. That bit.
Yeah, it's just weird because I wanted to try and sort of sneak around and try and do this, but I couldn't because he was always somewhere different. And they could do with having a different noise when you're spotted, da da, because after a while that became funny hearing it. So a bit more variety there would have been great.
Also, I mean, I know the game's designed to be like this. I'm not being annoying, but if I was in that situation, I would at least try and find a stick or a screwdriver or something, even if it ends up being useless. But I'm not picking holes, I promise. I understand why it's like that and why you can't do that, but it just seemed a bit odd because all the time I was like, just get something. You would certainly, just even if it was like an umbrella. But yeah,
I did like the fact that there was instantly a relationship between us and the character, because I was like, why are you in this? There's no way you'd have gone in here in the first place.
Yeah, it's true.
You idiot! Why are you such an idiot? There's no way. So yeah, it's like one of those sort of a great horror movie where you're just like amazed at the stupidity of the character that you're controlling. Go back the fucking way you came, you idiot! Straight back out the window. Okay, well that was my number one, so I'll jump briefly back to my number two, and I'll be brief. Metro Last Light is also on PS Plus on PlayStation 3. I've played about the opening couple of hours. It's much more streamlined than Metro 2033. I'm not 100% sure it's a good thing, because there was something weirdly sort of, I don't know, bracing about the combat in 2033, because the combat was as rickety as some of those battered old guns you were using. I also, now that I'm primarily playing games on next gen or current gen or whatever the bastard hell we're calling the new consoles, I can't gauge. I've completely lost the ability to gauge whether it looks any good or not. Because I'm just looking at like that looks rubbish, but because I've just played Battlefield on the Xbox One, so I've lost that ability, so I don't know whether it looks good. Like so many first-person shooters, and I think Crysis 3 is a decent comparison, it has a fucking lousy opening half hour. There's a bit where you're out in the open and you're protected by a sniper, and then there's a bit where you escape from captivity, and then there's a bit where you're following a guy around for what seems like an eternity, and there's an insta-fail stealth bit where you have to kill some guards. It's mandatory to kill some guards, but others, if you kill them, they set off an alarm, and it's not always clear which is which. And I was just like, this is shithouse. But I've been taking it slow. It does seem pretty standard issue, very linear, but it does feel quite nice. I've started to sort of get into the flow, but I did like Metro 2033 very much.
It definitely cranks up and cranks up and cranks up, that game. It keeps offering you something new, and some of the outside bits later on are absolutely tremendous.
Yeah,
it helps that I played it on PC, and it does look stunning on PC. Probably still the best looking game I've seen. That was Shadowfall, but Shadowfall, just I hate it so much that I can't even begin to praise it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's not a particularly good looking game. I don't think, but it does. After a really really shitty opening, it really started to grab me, because I do like that world quite a bit. And although I'm still following some guy around, the combat's really nice and tight.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's inessential, I'd say, at this point. But I'm looking forward to how it pans out.
And another hell of a freebie.
Yes, indeed. Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, what a service. Although I must say, it does seem like Games on Gold is picking up a little bit. Dead Island and Sleeping Dogs, a bit.
Yeah, I mean, ever so slightly.
Yeah. Okay, my number one is Fable Anniversary on Xbox 360. I played Fable when it came out on the Xbox. It's always going to be that game that is remembered for how much bollocks Peter Molyneux spouted about it, and then it never really delivered on what he said, talking about planting acorns and then them growing into trees. And this was at a time where, like, everybody was fascinated by what gaming could be almost in terms of reaching realism, and you could exist in these worlds. Those types of games actually do exist now, stuff like Rust and things like that. But for the most part, getting that much detail in any game would actually be detrimental. To being able to do all that stuff in Fable would just get in the way of what's actually good about it. And the game's actually, it is a good game. It's a little bit pedestrian these days, but I do like the fact that, unlike Fable 2 and 3, where you couldn't die, I mean, you could die, but you just respawned immediately. This game, you die, you go back to the save point. It gets a bit more tension in the combat, because the combat's hardly DMC or God of War. It's just hacking and slashing and firing some laser bolts and rolling about the place. It's fine, but the fact you can die does make it a bit more tense and a bit more interesting. And it's still very charming, all the West Country accents and the different regional dialects and things like that. People chirping funny things at you, and they've done a good job at the remake. They put it into 1080p. It does look nice. It probably looks nicer than even Fable 3. I'd go that far. I mean, it really does look nice, like it's pushing the Xbox. Unfortunately, the animation can't hold up to how nice it looks, because it's still all the old animation rigs and things from 2004 when it first came out, 2003, 2004. So, like, characters pivot on the spot after cutscenes, and just stiltedly walk back into the house, all that sort of stuff that didn't really matter back then, but it looks a bit stupid now. And if you've played Fable, you know how it works. You start as a little boy, bad stuff happens, you turn into the hero of Albion. You can choose to play it like a good guy, choose to play it like a bad guy. The citizens are quick to forget whatever you do anyway, but the world is still very reactive to what you do. It's kind of a strange decision for an anniversary edition, because it's never really been a game that's like, Halo. You can understand completely why that was given the full HD remake territory, but treatment, I should say. But Fable, I don't know. It's kind of like Fable 2 came out and pretty much bettered it in every way, apart from the fact you couldn't die. But I understood what they were trying to do when that came out. That was like a trend that seems to have gone away again now. But I don't know if you really fancy playing Fable again for whatever reason. I guess, I mean, it's only £30. It's there. It's fine. It holds up as a perfectly adequate game, but I wouldn't go nuts for it. I don't know. It's one of those games. It's hard to. There's nothing really bad to say about it, but you can't really rave about it, especially when 2 and 3 exist and they do more interesting things.
I suppose the reason they've made the port is because that's the only one that hasn't appeared on 360.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
I was surprised to learn that it was a boxed product. I thought it was a download.
Yeah, but to be fair, the quality of the assets that they've used to make the whole world 1080p, I think it would be probably too big to have just as a download anyway. But yeah, it's fine. It's one of those games hard to get passionate either way about. It just is.
Yeah.
And that's about it, I guess. Fable.
Yeah. All right. Well, I probably won't play it, I don't think. But
I wouldn't bother. So that's it, isn't it?
That's it. That's done.
Yeah.
We're done.
So it was a bit of a rush job, but internet problems, promises of 75-foot waves and things knocking out Chet's internet. But all's fine. Sorry about Screaming Child, but that's my life. Yes, so more things we wanted to say. Next week is going to be episode 100. We've been kind of overwhelmed by the amount of feedback that we've had from the questions that we asked last week about potentially changing the show's format and things like that. We're still not 100% decided, but I wouldn't worry. There's no plans to massively change things, I don't think. And any more feedback throughout this week is going to be useful as well. But also, because it is episode 100, we wanted to do something slightly different. So one of the things that we've always said about this podcast is that we wouldn't bang on about what we do in our everyday lives and do all that stuff, talk about drinks or anything like that. We'd just get to the games. But I guess after 100 episodes, which is kind of crazy, I think we've got to be one of the fastest ever podcasts to get to 100 episodes. We thought, basically, we'll throw it out to the listeners. You can ask us questions, and we'll do a Q&A session. You can ask us about anything to do with games or anything else. I'll answer anything. I don't care. Anything you want to ask. So Either email us on the site emails. They're on the website on the finiteplaylist.com, or if you want to do it as a tweet it to me, Chet, or to the Chet and John's Twitter, preferably the Chet and John's, and use the hashtag CJQ, and that way then I can just click that hashtag when it comes to recording the show next week. We'll try not to look at any of the questions beforehand so we can answer them fresh, and then they'll just all be in the list. That's what I'm saying. Use the hashtag. I'm not trying to be cool. You understand that? So, hopefully someone will actually ask us a question now, otherwise I'll be a bit embarrassed.
Yeah, I mean, we just thought it would be nice if anyone has anything they want to ask us, just get it done and we'll do it this one time. But also, thanks very much for everyone who took the time to send feedback. It's been it has been helpful. I mean, it's the most inconclusive feedback in history, so we haven't been able to make any concrete decisions. I think what we're going to do is just be a little bit looser about it. So there will be situations where we probably will do a sort of 5 games rather than 10, but that will just happen as and when. I'd hate for it to be just 5 every week, because I'd hate to feel the need to talk just for the sake of it, to try and pad out the podcast. I mean, at the end of the day, the format is why we wanted to try and avoid that crap.
Yeah.
But there will be times when it will be fitting, so we're just going to play it by ear for the moment. But for the next, it's going to be the same for a little while anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Harry?
So don't worry. And one thing we're definitely not going to do, and never we're going to do, is go bi-weekly, because that's half the content. Yeah. So whereas the occasional week off might happen, but it's not going to be every 2 weeks or anything like that. So don't worry.
And also, it's never going to be a top 7 list, because for some reason John has a terrible prejudice against the number 7. What did you say? The 7's a wank number or something?
I can't remember the exact line, but yeah, it just feels wrong. Top 7. There's no branding in a top 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You made me say that out loud.
All right, okay. Thanks very much for listening. Ask us some questions if you want. Otherwise, we'll see you next
episode
week.
100.
Episode 100.
Laters.
Goodbye.
And that's just wrong, man. That's just bad. That's bad workmanship. It's like schoolboy errors. That sounds cool, man. It's all about power. That's cool, man. It's all about power. Whoa, man, you look cool. That makes you feel powerful, man. It's all about the power. But, hey, man, when's my choices and what are the consequences? Albion is your kingdom, man. You make the rules. Yeah, you're completely free to go and kill them, man. Man. Power. Schoolboy. Whoa, man, you look cool.